untapped material for investigation.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. So in this episode, we're going to talk about Layla. And probably some of you have been waiting for this episode because some of you are probably curious as how I can make the most popular Esper to be called the most useless Esper in this game to become useful. And that's the thing, because for me actually she is not useless, because the most useless one is actually Zelmer, and Layla is pretty much really good, and I'm gonna tell you why right now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's go to her first skill. Attacks one enemy, damage 120% attack. And this is a normal damage, 120%. 40% chance of inflicting stun for one turn. This is totally useless, like 40% chance is very low. So do not count on this skill to stun her target. But if you can get very lucky and manage to stun something, then just consider it a blessing. So that's just a normal single target damage on the first skill. The second skill attacks one enemy, damage 200% attack. This is already high enough. And then on top of that, it has a 75% chance of inflicting disease for 2 turns. 75% chance is quite okay. This is like a 50-50. Like, if you can get disease, then it's okay. If you don't get, then you need somebody else to cover for the disease debuff department. Because usually bosses that require you to put disease on them require you to have an extra backup just in case your Esper failed to put disease on the boss. Because if they fail, then it's gonna end up really bad. So obviously she's not alone in putting disease on her target. And the next one, if the enemy is afflicted with poison, damage plus 100%. And this is what makes this skill really good, because that means that this skill's total damage is at 300%. This is the same as our favorite here, Brian, with the hardest hitting third skill damage with sitting at 300% attack in here. So that's why Layla with her second skill pretty much deal insane amount of damage, and then also it only have a cooldown of 3 turns, and on top of that it also transfer 1 debuff from its ally to the target. So this is an extra. Like if your ally have a debuff, then it's an extra thing to transfer those debuffs to the target. But if it's not, this is not actually something that you are aiming for. Like you can use this for when you are like fighting APEP, you know, and transfer the poison to APEP himself. But because APEP have high resist and it's not gonna land, and this also, you can also transfer the 1 debuff every 3 turns, so not really counting on that. You do need some support Esper to remove the poison. So but this is a nice addition. So the thing is that even though Layla can deal 300% damage on her second skill, her base attack is really small. So if you go to Atlas here, you can see if she is at level 60, this is her base attack, 811, and that is really small if you want to build her as your main DPS compared to Brian with her 300% third skill sitting at a base attack 1200. So that's why you don't really want her as a main DPS, but I'm gonna show you how much damage she can deal later on at the end of this video. So that is her second skill, and her third skill, where is her third skill? Layla. Okay. The third skill attacks all enemies 2 times, damage per hit 55% attack, so in total you're gonna deal 110% attack, which is quite good for an AoE damage, because usually an AoE damage average on 100% attack. Now the bonus thing is that 100% chance of inflicting poison for 3 turns. This is the best part about her third skill. Poison that lasts for 3 turns, and not many players realize this, because what they think about poison is that every single poison Esper do the exact same thing. But no, the only Esper that can put 3 turns poison duration is only Layla and E18. So E18 here can put, because she hits attacks all enemies 3 times, the poison lasts for 3 turns. So this poison, she will put 3 stacks of poison on the enemies that all 3 of them last for 3 turns. And compared to Hilda put 4 stacks of poison that last for 2 turns. And then after that, with Kara, where's Kara? Where's my Kara? With Kara, she puts 1 stack of poison that lasts for 2 turns, another stack of poison that lasts for 2 turns, and another stack of poison that lasts for 1 turn. And then if you think about Jacob, then Jacob only put 1 stack of poison that lasts for 2 turns. He puts the least amount of poison, and so I don't really consider him as a poison esper. He is more like a petrification and a fang esper. So Layla is her strength is at this 3 turns poison duration, and the cooldown is only 4 turns. So if you use the equipment, the enchanted relic here, so this relic, when inflicting poison or bleed, has a 30% chance to extend duration by 1 turn. So that means that Layla can have a poison that lasts for 4 turns with only a cooldown of 4 turns. So she can put a permanent poison on her target, and poison is insanely strong. Like, there's a little fun fact about me here. Like, in every single game that I play, I always love dealing a damage over time damage. And because when you are dealing damage over time damage, you can focus solely on survivability instead of spreading your stats or your time managing between survivability and attacking your target. When you put the damage over time on your enemy, you can just leave the damage on and they will get a constant damage every single second. And that's the strength of damage over time. But the thing is that in other games, the damage over time either deal a very little damage, or the enemy's HP will just drain like a waterfall, like drop down like waterfall. But in this game, when I first started playing this game, the thing that took my attention the most is this poison description. The carrier takes damage at the start of their turn. Damage 4% maximum HP. Dude, maximum HP. So if I can put like 25 stacks of poison, every single enemy in this game will die, because it's gonna deal 100% of maximum HP to your target. But because every single enemy can only have up to 12 debuffs, so you can only deal at 1 turn 48% maximum HP in using poison at the maximum. But that is already enough. That means that at 48% maximum HP damage, you only need a poison that lasts for 2 turns to kill every single enemy in this game. And the strength about maximum HP damage is that the stronger your enemy is, the stronger your poison damage gonna be. And that is the best thing about early and mid game player. If you are struggling in killing like a very thick and tanky opponent, then use poison to kill them. You don't need to increase your attack, you don't need to increase your damage. As long as your Esper is alive, you can just keep giving poison on your enemy and they will die eventually. And that's why poison is really strong in this game. And on top of that, they just recently added this: each time poison is successfully inflicted, the target's healing receives -5% up to -50%. So you can pretty much kill anyone and they probably won't be able to heal back up with this healing reduction. And so you can just clear PvE content with poison, just clear them without any problem. Like, it's very strong in Cube Miracle, in Temporal Tower and Infinity Tower, and also in Ritual Miracle Andras. Poison is used in there. And in Andras, if you notice here, the strength from Layla and Eve is in this Andras skill here. So in the Guardian info, you will see that Andras has a passive that at the start of Andra's turn, all allies have their debuff durations shortened for 1 turn. So for a poison Esper that can only put 2 turns poison, they pretty much deal a very low damage to Andras, because if your poison only lasts for 2 turns, then that means that the poison will deal damage once on the enemy, and then after that it will be removed by Andras himself. So you're gonna need to wait for another 3 turns in order for you to put poison again on Andras minion that will only deal damage once again to your enemies, and hence that's why poison Esper is not to be compared with each other, because the best thing about poison is that they can stack. So you never have enough poison Esper. If you can, just keep stacking poison Espers, like bring as many of them as you can, and then you can just keep stacking poison until 12 stacks of poison, and they will die really fast. And the strength of LAYLA is in these 3 turns, that even if Andras can reduce the duration by 1 turn, you can pretty much still be safe, because within the next couple of turns you will be able to put poison again. And of course, if you have the enchanted here and also the ocean set, you can reduce the ability cooldowns and also increase the duration of poison, which makes LAYLA really good in Andras. If you still doesn't have any other alternative to put into Andras, then you can invest into the Abilimon for LAYLA. And also the good thing about LAYLA is that she is of Shimmer element, and Shimmer element, there is a reason for this. Like, she is the first ever rare Esper that have poison, and poison, like I said, is insanely strong in PvE situation, and hence that's why they put LAYLA as a Shimmer category. But aside from that, the best part about being a Shimmer Esper is that she never have a miss rate on any enemies. So she can pretty much deal a constant poison debuff on all of her target, unlike any other poison Esper. Like for example here, Kara, she is of flow element, so she gonna put every single poison debuffs on Inferno enemies, but she will miss most of the time against wind enemies. So that's why every single poison Esper, they have different elements. Like Ife here is of Inferno. She is really good at putting poison on wind enemies, but not so much to flow enemies, and that's why you need to have every single poison Esper to be able to put poison on whatever enemies you are fighting against. And LAYLA, being a Shimmer element here, she can put poison on any enemies, and that's her strength. Now going into her advancement here, because if you don't want her second skill damage, like if you do want to just focus on her giving poison on the enemies, you can just focus on giving her as much HP, defense, and speed, and then accuracy as much as possible. So you don't really need her at level 60. Like you can see, my LAYLA is still at level 50. So only if you do want to use her and you don't want to waste any other material for other DPS, you can use LAYLA for both your single target DPS and also your poison debuffer. Going to her resonance, like the stats, depending on what you use her for, the attack is welcome, the HP and defense is also welcome, and on her second resonance, when the target is incapacitated, damage plus 10%, but because she doesn't have any stun on herself, then she requires the assistance of other Esper to incapacitate your enemy. And the fourth resonance, when attacking, 16% chance of ignoring resist. This is the best thing to have as a poison Esper, so she can put more poison more often to her targets. Now the Ascension, this is something that makes LAYLA unpopular, because just because of her Ascension is everywhere, so she is not really good in building into, you know, anything. Because like I said, like if you have any specialty, like you are specialized in dealing single target damage, if you specialize in dealing AoE damage, LAYLA doesn't really have any specialty because of her Ascension. The first one increase HP, the second one increase defense, the fourth one increase HP, fifth one increase attack, and then the last one increase accuracy. Probably the only thing that is really good in here is the accuracy increase. So this means that you don't really need to put that much accuracy on your stats. You can focus more on either HP or attack damage. Now the third one is the one that gives the extra 100% attack damage if the enemy is afflicted with poison. So if you do want to use her as a damage dealer, then you obviously gonna need this third one. But if you don't need her as a damage dealer and you only need her to put poison, you can just totally ignore her ascension here, just to save up on your material. Then going to rival rune, the game developer recommends you to go for win because she needs to be able to put her third skill, going from her third skill to her second skill very early. So because of that, like, you need win, otherwise she will take too long in order to deal damage to her target. But if you are like only putting poison on your target, then you can go for the ocean set, because that means that you don't really care about the second skill casting, but you care more of how often you cast your third skill in this case. So that is her growth here. Now going into the divination here, in the divinate, the stats as just like now is really welcome. It's okay. When the barrel's HP percentage is not above the target's Berserker Ray's damage plus 20%, Berserker Ray is on the second skill here. So this skill damage can deal a lot of damage, and this is what a lot of players underestimating LAYLA on this second skill. So I'm gonna show you how much damage LAYLA can deal. So here I'm gonna give Brian my Drew relic here. I always use Drew's relic here for my benchmark because this is my most balanced attack, critical rate, and critical damage relic. So with this, let's see Brian's damage. So let's target the lady at the back here. So let's see how much damage Brian can deal without any attack up, without any captain buff. So she deals 38,000 damage. So as a benchmark, a 300% attack damage is that much, and now we're gonna give this relic to LAYLA. And because my LAYLA is at 50, I'm using config to maximum level to put my LAYLA at maximum level. So we're gonna see her stats fully at level 60 here. And let us see the damage. So I'm using Kara here just to put poison debuff on the enemies, because if not, if I rely on LAYLA herself, I need to make her move twice before she can use the second skill, because I need to put poison using her third skill first. But with Kara here, I can already put poison, and so my LAYLA can just straight up use her second skill here. So this is the amount of damage that LAYLA can deal with a damage equipment. So 33,000 damage. It's a little bit below Brian because, like I said just now, her base attack is very low, but it can still pretty much deal insane amount of damage as a single target damage dealer here. And on top of that, she can also put poison debuffs, so she is actually really good in PvE stages. Like, she can kill strong enemies using poison, she can also kill weak enemies using her second skill. So if you do think LAYLA is what you need, then you can invest on her. But if you think like you want other more useful Esper, then obviously don't really invest on LAYLA. But I'm just showcasing you how in which cases does LAYLA excel at, and everything else depends on what you're gonna do with her. So that's pretty much how much damage LAYLA can deal, and that's what a lot of players is underestimating her, But again, like, it's not recommended to increase her, to level her up if you are a late or end game player, because it doesn't help you in any other boss fight. Like she doesn't help you in Falsetto, she doesn't help you in Dislyte, she doesn't help you in PvP obviously. So she's only ever gonna be good in helping you progress through all these other PvE content. And also she doesn't help in Calamity either because you don't have a Simmer Calamity Island. You know. So yeah, that's LAYLA for you. So hope you got something out of this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.